Welcome to our lesson today here at Ukulele Pros. I'm Terry Carter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following and subscribing and sharing these videos. Without you, we couldn't grow Ukulele Pros. And today we're going to be talking about speed builders, and this is going to be number one. And this is going to be an exercise that's going to develop not only left hand, but also right hand. If you want to grab the tab and find out more about all the different things that I'm doing here at Ukulele Pros, you can go ahead and check out ukulelepros.com. Specifically for this one, check out the master class there. But I got home late last night and I was trying to figure out what we should do today, and I thought this would be a good thing. We haven't really spent a lot of time developing our technique with our fingers. A lot of times when we're playing, we're doing a lot of chords, or we're using our thumb, or we're strumming with our first finger. But we haven't done so much using our index and middle, doing like an alternating finger. And this is really more of a classical guitar approach to ukulele, but it's actually great for us here too. So I'm going to be playing only on strings 1, 2, and 3 today. So let's just grab our tuning notes. We got first string A, second string E, third string C. Don't forget we are live here, so feel free to check in, say hi, let me know where you're checking in from. That's always helpful. I like seeing people from all over the world. Also, if you're watching this later when it's not live, feel free to leave a comment. I'll check them all, and I get them, and I'll respond back to you as soon as possible. So we're not playing our fourth string at all for this particular one. Mainly because if you have a high G, it doesn't work when we get here. But if you have a low G, yeah, it works fine. But I'm just going to not worry about that for today. So we're only going to use strings 1, 2, and 3. And before we worry about the left hand, let's talk about this right hand technique. When we play with our fingers, we have two different strokes that are typically used in this style of music, which is one called the rest stroke and one called the free stroke. The rest stroke is where you're going to actually, let me see if I can move my ukulele a bit. You're going to pluck the string with, in this case, my index finger. I'm going to have it roll off the tip of my finger and a little bit of fingernail if you have some. Just notice how my fingernail might be hard to see, but just a little bit of nail above the fingernail. And so I'm going to get a little bit of flesh and a little bit of nail. And then when I pluck it, my finger is actually going to hit the first string and then rest on the second string. Gives kind of a nice, real crisp, powerful sound. You can also do that with your middle finger as well. Same approach. I really don't have much of a nail on my middle finger. I think it broke off recently. Okay, so then if we try that back and forth, the rest stroke, it would just be first finger, middle finger. So index finger, M. So I for index, M for middle. Remember, just open string, open first string, no left hand here. And this is a rest stroke. And again, your finger is actually resting on the string above the first string. So after you play the first string, it's resting on the second string. So that's the first stroke. The next one is called a free stroke. And now it's similar as far as you're still going to use the little bit of a flesh on your tip of the finger and also a little bit of nail. But if you can see this, instead of resting on the next string, I'm just actually plucking the string, and I'm doing basically like this technique. You can see that. Is that a good angle? It's almost like when I hit the finger, my finger's curling into the palm of my hand. So it's first finger, and then my middle finger. First finger, middle finger. So let's try this free stroke here. 2, 3, 4. So index, middle, index, middle. Let me slow it back down again. Ready, and index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. Now if you notice, this technique, it's a little bit lighter. So it's not as heavy. The free stroke, because you're getting a lot that power where you can rest on the next string. It's a little bit more powerful. And then the free stroke tends to be a little bit lighter. So for this one, let's try the rest stroke. That would be a good one to practice today, the rest stroke. Now let's talk about the actual technique of what we're learning today. So the pattern, and I played it earlier, is just this. And I'll show you what on the screen here with the tab. And that's it. These technique exercises do not have to be difficult. Well, that's not the right one. Where is it? Here we go. They do not have to be difficult. They're not meant to, well, they can be, but they're not. This one's not meant to be. This one's just meant to kind of get us warmed up. It's a great thing to do when you first pick up your ukulele, get your left and your right hand moving. All right, so here's the first measure here. And these are just going to be quarter notes. And I'm going to start with my index finger, my first finger on the first string, first fret. And that's with my index finger. I'm going to play it. Then with my left hand, my second finger is going to be on the first string, second fret. And then I'm going to use my middle finger for that. Then my ring finger on my left hand is going to be on the first string, third fret. And I'm going to go back to my index on the right. And then my pinky is going to be on the first string, fourth fret. And I'm going to go back to my middle finger for that. And that's it. So it's going to go first finger, and I'm referring to my left hand here. First fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, and pinky, or fourth finger, fourth fret. And this I'm just alternating, index, middle, index, middle. So here we go. Let's just try what's on the screen. 2, 3, 4. So we got index, middle, index, and middle. And that's it. Real simple. Now what you want to make sure you're doing here, you want to get those notes real crisp, not any of this. None of that sound. Means you're not pressing down hard enough, or you may not be right up to the fret. Remember, when we play these single notes on the ukulele, we want to be right up next to the fret, not on top of it, but next to it. The other thing to try is to keep all your fingers down. So when I play my first finger, I'm going to keep it down and just add my second finger. And I'm going to keep both those down and add my third finger, and then keep all of them down and add my pinky. So you don't want to do this. See how I bring up each finger each time? You want to keep them all down. Trouble in paradise, it sounds like. All right, so let's just do it in time now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's life just telling me not to take things so seriously. You're trying to do a video and then the kids start crying. So we're here to have a good time and learn a few tips and tricks. All right, so now let's check out if we do that technique now up on every string. Again, we're only playing strings 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to play 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to come back and hit string 2 again and string 1. So what you see on the screen is going to be like this. Now some of you may say, that's so easy. Why do we have to do this? Well, I've heard that a lot. I know we want to shred around. But this is really important for developing your technique, to do it slowly and do it accurately. So, things to keep in mind is, like we mentioned, clear notes. Notice how I'm playing when I play these notes. I'm playing right on my fingertips. And in order to play on your fingertips, notice what happens to your knuckles here. They're all nice and rounded, as opposed to when you play on the pad of your finger and my knuckles are flat. That's not good technique. Versus nice rounded knuckles. That's really nice technique there. Playing on the fingertips. Getting nice, crisp sounds. Keeping all your fingers down. And not putting too much pressure on your thumb here. You don't need to choke the ukulele neck. It should be real light, actually. Really, the classical approach to this is that the thumb is there as a guidance. It's actually not there to grab onto the neck. If you watch classical guitar players, they have a real light. The thumb here is there to guide around. It's not there to choke the ukulele neck. Okay, so you want to be real light on your thumb. And then, of course, just the nice alternating fingers. All right, so let's just try what's on the screen here. Let's bring a metronome in. This is your core notes. So we're just going to play these 5 measures on the screen. So 1, 2, ready, and so it's 1, 2. Now next string up, same thing. Now the third string, same pattern, 2. Now back to the second string. And then back to the first string. And stop right there. Actually, I think that might even could be a little fast. So let's bump it down. That was 60. Let's try 45. We'll go faster later. This is just to get the technique down. And I guess I didn't mention this, but all we're doing is taking that 1, 2, 3, 4, and just moving it up to the second string. 2, 3, 4. Moving it up to the third string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the second string. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back to the first string. I know it's on the screen and with the tab, but some of us, don't read tab that well, so I also want to show you. So here we go. Let's try this again. This is actually slow. 45. 1, 2. I'm accenting beat 1 if you notice that. 4. So it's. Now the next measure. So second string. Now the third string. Now back to the second string. Now the first string. Alright, so that's the first part of the pattern. Make sure you can lock in with that metronome. Alright, let me do a quick check-in here and see how we're doing with the crew here. The Uke Like the Pro crew. Make sure that I'm here. There I am. Okay. Hey, look at this. Errol's here. Thank you. My red Hawaiian shirt. Carol. All right. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right. Now, what's going to happen is once we do this pattern on the screen, we're then going to do the same thing, except we're going to just move everything up a fret. So now, instead of being on strings or frets 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to be on frets 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So we're going to go index on the second string, middle finger on the third fret, and again I'm just talking about my left hand, ring finger on the fourth fret, and then pinky on the fifth. Let's do that. Again, still doing alternate fingers with my right hand. Ready, and so 3, 4th fret, 5th fret. Then we just take it to the second string and do the same thing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we move to the third string. Then we move back to the second string. Same pattern. And then we go to the first string. Okay, so let's just try what's on the screen now with the 45 beats per minute metronome. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the second string. And now back to the second string. I almost went to the fourth string. And now, what I mentioned that is that if you have a low G on your ukulele, you can go to the fourth string. First string, second string, third string, and then fourth string, because it goes lower, and then back to the third, second, and first. But that's not what you want. Right there. So if you do have a low G, you can. We're not going to do that today, but just so to show you. And then what's going to happen after this is, notice, it's going to do the same thing, except we're going to now slide our hand up 1 fret. So now our first finger will be on the 3rd fret, our middle on the 4th, our ring on the 5th, and our pinky on the 6th. Okay? Everything else stays the same, including this. So let's try this now. What's on the screen? 3, 4. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6. Now second string. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now third string. Now back to the second string. And then back to the first string. Now, when you're practicing at home, you can go as high as you want. You can just keep on going. For today, I just stopped right here on the 3rd fret as far as if you grab the handout from the masterclass section. But you could just continue to keep going up. So let's try now. Let's go back to the first one, and let's bump up this up a little bit. Let's see. Let's do... yeah, this will be our slow one. So this time, though, we're not going to stop. Okay? So here we'll go back to the beginning. First string, 1st fret. This is 60 beats per minute. 2, 3, 4. So now second string. Now 3rd string. Second string. 1st string. Now we slide up to the 2nd fret. Third. Now we slide up 1 fret here to the 3rd fret. 4, 5, 6, and these are just quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. And we'll stop there, although like I said, you can just keep moving on up. Now the last thing I'm going to show you, and this is a little bit more an advanced technique. Some of you may be ready for it, some of you may not. But this is what I do. You might have noticed this, you might have not. If I'm going back here to... no. Oh, yeah, what's on the screen? I didn't change the thing when we played. If I go back here, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Remember I mentioned you can keep all your fingers down. Now watch this. When I go to the 2nd string, notice I didn't move my 2nd, 3rd, or 4th finger. So they're still on the 1st string. Now my 1st finger's on the 2nd string. Then all I have to do is move up my middle finger, keeping 3 and 4 on the 1st string. Then move up your ring finger to the 2nd string, and then move up your pinky. Then do the same thing when you go to the 3rd string. Only move up your 1st finger while keeping these other fingers on the 2nd string, middle, ring, and pinky. So notice if you do that, it develops a lot of real muscle memory coordination, because to only move 1 finger at a time while keeping the other ones down is actually tough to do. It gets easier as you do it for a while, but it actually is tough to do. So if you try that when you're going up, now when you're coming down, you can do the same thing, except it's a little tougher because notice if I'm on a 3rd string here and I come down, my 1st finger's got to go to the 2nd string. But what's hard is that these fingers, 2, 3, and 4, generally have a tendency to dip a little bit. And notice when they dip, what happens? You get the mute. So you really have to make sure you're playing on your fingertips, and you really have to make sure you're playing with that nice rounded knuckles. So 3rd string here. Now my 1st finger is going to the 2nd string. Now my 2nd finger is going to be the 2nd string. Now my ring finger, and now my pinky. So I only move my fingers when they're needed to go to the next string. Now, go to the first string, first string, first string, and first string. All right, so let's just try that up and down, nice and slow, doing that technique. 2, 3, 4. So first, second, third. Now up a string, keeping all the other fingers down. Up. All right, now only your first finger is going to move. Now your second finger. Now your third finger. Now your pinky. Now you're only your first finger. Second, third, and then of course when you slide up, do the same thing again. All right, that's kind of an advanced technique. So if you're not ready for that, then don't worry about it. But when you are, that's a cool thing to try. All right, so that was 60. Let's do 85. How about that? 1 from the top again. I'll try to see if I can switch the tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now second string. Now first string. Now third fret, and I need an assistant here. Now let's keep going. I don't have any diagrams for this. Just keep it. Fourth fret. Fifth fret. All right, so that was 85. How about we jack it up one more time before we get on out of here? 120. Okay? 120 beats per minute, so twice as fast as a second. Da, da, dee, da, da, da. Back to the top here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. I'm not gonna switch the tab out this time. Third fret now. Nice and relaxed, locking in with that metronome the best you can. Fourth fret. Fifth fret. And so forth and so on. And that's probably a little fast, so I wouldn't recommend that tempo unless you feel comfortable with it. Plus, you're kind of getting out of the technique, so build it up to that. Then if you feel comfortable with 120, do 120. Then you can keep going faster, and that's why this is a speed builder, because it gradually builds it up. All right, so that's going to do it for today's lesson. I'm going to do one last check-in to see if I missed anybody. I don't ever want to miss anybody. Okay, so I guess we are good as far as questions are concerned. And thank you for being here, as always. And you know my tagline. We'll see you in the next lesson.